All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
All right, we are back again on the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the preview of Chelsea versus Aston Villa Carabao Cup match. Don't ask me what round it is. I've got no idea. It's one of the early stages anyway. Third round, there you go. Terence just put up the finger. Terence just mentioned just before we went live, is this live? No, Terence, this is not live. This is a pre-recording, but it will be premiering, which I'm sure that everyone's watching it now. Right now, it's premiering, as you know. So, just fixing a few things up, ladies and gentlemen. Do want to have a lot more premieres, shorter sort of videos. Live streams are still going to be there, so don't worry about that. The live streams will be there. But mixing things up for all sorts of viewers out there, and hope you guys enjoy this. We're going to have definitely a very, very good preview on this particular match. Lots to talk about. It's going to be very, very interesting with some of the fringe players hopefully getting some minutes. And at the same time, it's a particular cup I feel we should be having a really good go at it. And we've got the squad depth. So, Taryn, let's get straight into this. Let's talk about the press conference. Press conference just finished not that long ago. First thing, let's talk about players in and out. Looks like the entire squad's pretty fit except for Mendy. There wasn't much news about Pulisic, but I think Pulisic is still out. They did say about 10 days, and I don't think that 10 initially from the time he got injured, they said it's about 10 days. And Thomas Tuchel, last time when he was in the press conference against for the Spurs game, he said that he's slowly starting to train by himself. Hasn't started team training yet. So not much on that particular update. I don't think he's available for this game. I highly doubt he's going to be available for City. Maybe the one after, he could possibly be in the bench. So that's what's about Pulisic. There hasn't been any questions on it. But the real one then we need to talk about is Mendy. Taryn, seems like he's out for this match. Thomas Tuchel said this is a match that it comes a bit too early for him. He is still in pain. Now the question is, Taryn, I didn't even know this guy was injured up until the match against Spurs. I woke up and I saw that he's injured. Do you know what is the injury? All I know that he's in pain. He's not ready for this match, but he could be in contention for the City game. There is a particular timeline that he might be back in training on Thursday. So do you know much about this whole Mendy situation?
I think it's something to do with his ribs. That's what I kind of gained when I was at the stadium and I saw the kind of injury. It was from Artem Zuba, do you know, that chance where he could have scored it from the cross.
That one.
I think it was Azmoun who crossed the ball in to Zuba at the back post.
Yeah.
And they collided and Mendy was on the floor and the medical staff had to come and see what was going on with him. He still played the rest of the game, but I didn't really see anything. I didn't really see anything was up with him. But yeah, obviously it did look like a really heavy collision. Zuba missed the ball, obviously, and where would the impact of his foot go? Into the goalkeeper. Unfortunately, that is the risk of being a goalkeeper. You do get into hefty challenges with studs and knees and big heavy Russian striker sometimes. So yeah, I can get the injury, and yeah, I'm guessing it's something to do with his ribs. It looked like a rib injury, and yeah, you don't want a goalkeeper who's scared to dive, who's scared to commit, who's scared to go up for aerial duels. You need, when you have a goalkeeper as a backup as good as Kepa, you don't really want to take the risk. And for example, teams like Man City or something, maybe they would have risked Edison, because they only have like Zach Steffen and a few other people to back them up. But we have a goalkeeper who's just, well, I wouldn't say just as good, but a great backup who can come in. So yeah, I can understand not risking him. And hopefully the Man City game is enough for him. But if not, we still have Kepa, who's a class goalkeeper. So yeah, I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I remember that incident against Zenit, but I just didn't think that was going to create a bit of an injury for him, but yeah, it's well spotted. I've honestly seen no articles on it, so hopefully people that are watching it could comment in the section if they've heard anything about it. It makes perfect sense what Karen's saying. It's that rib injury, and there's no need. I think this particular game was penciled down for Kepa anyway. It's a Carabao Cup, and he's done really well against Spurs to get that clean sheet. He looked very confident as well, so no issues with me giving him the opportunity to keep again. And if by any chance Mendy's not ready for City, I'm confident with Kepa against Man City as well. Nonetheless, I would love to see Mendy back. Now, let's talk about the next thing: changes. There was a lot of questions about Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Saul, Callum, and a whole heap of different players. I think it's safe to say, Taryn, there will be some changes. I'm just going to quickly bring this up as I'm looking at the fixture list. Let me just add that. Now, both Aston Villa and Chelsea, they've actually got some big games coming up. So obviously we've got the Chelsea-Aston Villa, which is on, or say Thursday morning, which is Wednesday night for you guys. And then we've got the Chelsea-Man City game, which is on Saturday, which is a massive, massive game. One of the biggest sort of tests for this particular season, and a big one for the title sort of contendership match. Similarly, Aston Villa as well, Taryn, they've got us, of course, in the Carabao Cup. And then on Saturday, same time. I've never seen two sort of matches on the same time, early kickoff. It's been a long time. I can't remember, to be honest. I can't even remember. But both of them are in the same time. Aston Villa is playing Man United. So, I mean, Darren, it's safe to say we can probably expect quite a lot of changes from both sides, not just from us, but from Aston Villa as well. I would be so surprised if they were to field a strong team, because they've literally got Man United just around the corner, which is probably a bigger match. So, Tan, are you expecting a lot of changes here? Because there are a lot of players that haven't got enough minutes as yet.
Yeah, I'll start with Aston Villa. Yeah, many people expect changes with the squad depth they definitely have in that attack. You know, after Grealish left, they didn't just replace him with one player; they did replace him with, was it 3? Leon Bailey, Buendia, and Danny Ings. So yeah, they have a lot of options. They've been playing Jacob Ramsey a lot, who I think is a great talent, and he's not even one of their main starters. So they have a lot of other players who can come in. But I think an interesting point to make is last season we played Aston Villa towards the Christmas period, and there was like a 2-day gap between two games, and Aston Villa actually played the exact same team within a 2-day period in the Premier League. Aston Villa, Chelsea, and then there was another game where they played a very, very similar lineup with Jack Grealish and a lot of other players. So I wouldn't be surprised if Dean Smith backs the fitness of his players, backs.
But were they two Premier League games though, Terry? I think they were both Premier League games.
Yeah, they were both. Because remember, we had Arsenal and then Villa within like crazy 2-day Boxing Day period. So yeah, I'm not even really surprised if Villa do change up. But nevertheless, to say they have a lot of squad depth. They've been playing Tyrone Mings and Consta. They have Courtney Horse and Tuanzebe, a lot of other players to back them up. The wing backs, they have, what's his name, Gilbert,
and Matty Cash and Taggart,
Matty Cash and Matty Target as well. So they have a lot of squad depth in different areas. But I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they see this as an opportunity to get some silverware. They play a very strong team. They predict that Chelsea definitely need to rotate with our 2 games sandwiched between each other. You know, Spurs away, Man City at home. I wouldn't be surprised if Smith goes with a similar approach in the game that he did a few Saturdays ago. Go the high intensity approach against some change players in the Chelsea team and really try and attack them with a full strength team. So yeah, I predict personally that Aston Villa will go with a half full strength team, maybe a few kind of changes in the defense. You know, Mings and constantly playing a lot. Mings went to the Euros, I believe, as well, so he might need a proof at this stage. So yeah, this is what I'm predicting, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's 2 or 3 kind of changes for Aston Villa and Chelsea. Yeah, I'm expecting a heavily changed lineup with Saul and Guez definitely coming in. Whether that's for Jorginho, Kante, Kovacic, we're going to have to find out. Loftus-Cheek, I don't really predict him to start, to be honest. We need minutes for Timo Verna, Hakim Ziyech, Mason Mount.
Hudson-Odoi.
Exactly. And yeah, the 3 at the back is interesting because, you know, Rudiger definitely needs a break, but he's undroppable. So yeah, it's a very interesting kind of topic. What's going to happen?
100%. We'll dive deep into this particular matter when we do the lineups. I think that's where a lot of this interesting conversation will, sort of evolve. Let's talk about this whole idea of. I think the next question that was asked in the press conference was about, realistically winning all of these, silverwares like your Carabao Cups, FA Cup, obviously the Premier League, Champions League again, Club World Cup. I honestly feel, Taryn, yes, it shouldn't be taken too seriously. Obviously, there's bigger fishes to fry, but I feel like we have the squad depth to literally challenge for every title this season. I mean, there are players in our bench, at the moment, Hakim Ziyech, even Kai Havertz to a certain point, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Reece James hasn't been playing non-stop. Ben Chilwell is another name. Saul. So all up, I feel like, Taryn, we've got enough depth to treat every competition very seriously. Do you feel that way, or do you feel it's a Mickey Mouse Cup, let it go, just field whoever? Because I saw an article, I can't remember if it was Nizar or it was Simon Johnson, can't exactly remember, but they're saying that don't be surprised if you don't see any academy graduates playing here
Yeah,
because
I saw that.
there's literally not enough space. The depth needs to get minutes. Is that how you feel as well?
Yeah, I'll start with that academy point. Yeah, I haven't really seen many kind of academy players in training. Usually before the cup games, you see like before last season, you saw Lewis Bate, Andrew and a few other players training with the first team. But I haven't seen, Harvey Vale, Jude Bell, Mbiyamba training with the team a lot. So yeah, I'm not really surprised with that. But yeah, that's a great point you make about squad depth. And you could say, yeah, our squad depth is amazing. We have 3-4 players to play most positions in this team, but we must take into effect the international breaks, the Euros hangover from the summer. So players need minutes, and even the players that are trying to replace him right now, they might not be fit. They might not have the match sharpness to really play a really good 100% kind of intensity game. So yes, we have players that can come in. Saul still needs to adapt to the Premier League. The wing backs, Ben Chilwell is still trying to come back to his right mental state, his right kind of mental kind of capacity. Reece James is dealing with great personal issues right now. Our centre backs, I'd say our depth at centre back isn't actually that great at the minute, and our forwards is probably, I'll say, our most stacked positions right now. Mason Mount had to come off a half time. We shipped him straight away after a half poor performance. And then we have Werner, who's barely played this season. Ziyech, who's played a decent amount of games, but he definitely wants to be playing every single game for Chelsea. So yeah, you can look at it from both sides that there's great squad depth. But the way I look at it is that players still come back from Euros kind of hangover. Players are still dealing with different personal issues. So right now, I say our squad depth isn't amazing, but as the season progresses, as November passes and the international breaks kind of cut out till March, I think that's when we'll see the best kind of intensity, the best kind of football, and the best kind of squad depth. But yeah, right now it's just about bringing players up to match fitness, getting players minutes, getting players back into the right mental state, and preparing for the really tough kind of festive season and beyond.
No, 100%, man. I'm so happy, honestly, blessed. We are blessed as a fan base that we've got such quality players. Even like I can only imagine teams like Liverpool or I don't know any other ones, especially Liverpool being in the top four. They're probably going to rest some of their key players, but then their second string team not necessarily looks that strong, and their fan base knows that they're quite possibly going to have to give up on the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup because they'll focus on the Premier League and the Champions League to go as far as possible. And we've seen Liverpool sort of bomb out for these sort of competition previously. Aston Villa, I think, did them. So, it's not a surprise. I'm really, really blessed as a fan base that we can actually give this competition a really good go. And it's a competition that we've recently done well. Like, I can still remember the final against Man City. I can't exactly remember where we finished. Spurs got us. I think right at the beginning, which was, to be honest, they probably shouldn't have got us, but nonetheless. Let's talk about a couple of more things before we start talking about the team lineup. The first thing I want to talk about is Timo Verna. He was a bit of a hot topic, and rightly so. I personally thought he looked really good with Lukaku. This was the question that was raised. I mean, can we expect Lukaku and Werner down the track? And I love the way once again, Thomas Tuchel, the way he explained. He said that, look, he was another one of those players that just wasn't in the right frame of mind off the back of the Euros. He didn't have the greatest Euros. I think there were a few games where he didn't even get used. Whenever he came off the bench, he didn't look that great either for Germany. And then when he came back, Thomas Tuchel said he didn't look right in the first few games. And he wasn't happy about that himself, the player. And that's why Thomas Tuchel sort of held him back a little bit. And then in training, he started to do better. Mentally, his mind frame was looking better. That's why he got that 20, 25 minutes against Spurs. And I personally thought he looked really good. And that's a combination I really want to see. I mean, Taron, this particular match, I know Lukaku's most likely going to be rested because it'll be insane for him to just keep playing and playing and playing. We've got City coming up as well. I do want to see Werner start in this particular match, though. I feel like he hasn't played enough. And I know a lot of people are going to say, Taron, but if you start Werner here, are you going to start him against City? Damn straight, I will still start him against City because I feel like he shouldn't be tired because he hasn't played enough. Is that how you feel as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with what you made the Spurs. I thought he was superb as well, and many people are just going to highlight the sitters and stuff, but you can see there's kind of a natural connection developing between Lukaku and Timo. I mentioned in the match review Lukaku's connection with Martinez last season at Inter Milan. Very, very natural front two with a small strike and a big strike kind of combination. And Werner playing with big target men at Leipzig. So it does look like they can understand the movements already without too much minutes on the pitch together compared to, Havertz, Mount, and Lukaku, where I feel the connection needs to develop over a string of games, over a string of connections. It's something to get used to for all of the different kind of parties right there. So yeah, that's an interesting point. And I feel like he will play the Aston Villa game 100%. You know, Thomas Tuchel, I believe, kind of basically admitted that Timo's going to play at some point in the press conference. He was kind of asked a question. He was like, yeah, he'll hopefully be good tomorrow, something like that. So I think he will play in the Villa game with a few other players. And the Man City game, I mentioned, I sent you a tweet and I've put like my own opinions about this a lot, saying I really want Timo and Lukaku to start against Man City with Kante in behind. I think that Werner has the pace to exploit the high line, Lukaku too, and I think it's a good dynamic kind of brewing there. But yeah, I think it's been a difficult season with the Euros of Germany. It was unfortunate didn't play many minutes. Germany at the Euros with Havertz playing the false nine at times, Thomas Müller playing the false nine. They're coming off the bench and not providing an impact, ending up losing in the round of 16 to England, against players that you play with for your club. So it must not have been a nice experience for them. But if you look at Antonio Rudiger, even though he didn't have the best Euros and he still lost to England, he's bounced back and he's looked mentally strong, mentally competitive, and looks at best level. So I want to see a similar reaction from Timo Verna. And I know you can't really compare 28-year-old Rudiger to kind of 24-year-old Timo Werner, but you should look up to him as an idol and look up to how he's dealt with the situation. Every time you get minutes on that pitch, provide an impact, be on the highlights on the Sky Sports YouTube channel, whatever it is, and just make an impact every time you're on the pitch. So yeah, I think it's a big game for him tomorrow. He needs to get a goal and assist.
Nah, 100%. I've got a good feeling about Timo Verna. And obviously, we're going to talk about all of this in the lineup very, very soon. The last thing in the press conference that I want to talk about, and ladies and gentlemen, however many of you guys are watching right now, firstly, smash the like button. Secondly, make sure you subscribe. We're very, very close to, I believe we have now surpassed 7,700. So let's try and get that 8,000. And check out Taryn and his socials in the description. This particular topic that I'm going to talk to you guys about, I'm just only going to touch it slightly because I want to do a proper video on this, and it'll probably drop tomorrow because I'm really, really annoyed about this particular topic. Taryn, Alonso situation at the moment. It was brought up again in the press conference. Loved once again how Thomas Tuchel has handled that. At first, I was like, you know what? I don't want to participate too much into social media and go back and forth. But then I just had this inkling, Taryn, that media were going to start getting on the back of this guy and they're going to make something out of literally nothing. As I said, I don't want to take too much time to elaborate because I want to do a separate video. But Taryn, I feel like this player, he doesn't need to explain anything to anyone. At the end of the day, he's not straying away from the cause. He still believes in the cause. He just doesn't want to do the knee. He just wants to point in the badge where it says no racism. He just wants to do it in a different way. I've got no issues with that. I honestly have zero issues with this particular situation. There are other players that are not taking the knee. I personally think the knee is now starting to lose its effect. These players are just naturally as soon as the whistle goes, they just go. I don't even know if they're even thinking about the whole thing. Now, the cause itself is very important. Don't get me wrong. And as I said, I will do a full video on this. But Taryn, I feel like the media now, I don't know if you saw some of the comments, it's starting to bother me. They're starting to brand Alonso as if he's against all of this. I've seen some journalists comment, oh, but why hasn't he explained to his teammates about it? Oh, but just pointing in your sleeve seems a little bit insignificant. I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed. You're bashing a player unnecessarily, and you're going to invite abuse to a player for no reason. So how do you feel about this situation, man?
I think situations like this really make it feel like it is just a PR kind of stunt for the media when they pick up on little things. There's Wilfred Zaha standing up, Alonso standing up, players not doing something like this.
Ivan Toney recently, I think, said that he's not going to sit down. Take the knee.
It was a factor that with Zaha and Toney, because they were coloured players, they didn't really pick up on it as much. Because Alonso is obviously a white player, they're obviously going to pick up on that and try and brand him with different names, name call him, try and say different stuff like this. And I think it's a joke because every player has their own right. If they want to stand up, they want to take the knee, they have their own beliefs, their own kind of ways of dealing with situations. And I'm fine with that. Like you said, I feel like the effect is starting to go away. Players are just doing it for the sake of it. They don't really sit there and kind of like a minute of silence. Say on Sunday for that player, was it, I can't remember his name right now, the Tottenham and Chelsea player who died.
Greaves. Yeah, Jimmy Greaves. Yeah.
And they stayed for a minute and 100% they were thinking about that. They were thinking about what was going on, how sad it was. But when players take the knee now, are they really thinking about everything that's gone on with George Floyd and other situations? They're just kind of doing it.
I highly doubt it. Seriously.
Exactly. That's what I think is a stunt. And it's not really having many effect. We still see racism every single day in sports. Players for internationally getting racially abused. Premier League, Serie A, whatever league you name it. So, yeah, it was good first when it happened in the lockdown period. But now I just don't see the point of it. If you want to point at the badge, do that. If more players start standing up, more players start standing against it. And it's almost like racism has just been swept under the carpet. Now it's a war between players standing up, players sitting down and stuff like that. So now the main issue is if players are going to stand up, not the actual issue that players are being racially abused on a daily. So, yeah, I don't want to get too much. Like you said, you'll make a video on this, but my own point to that, yeah, I think the media really nitpicking. It's not a good look on me who's studying media. So hopefully I don't, get into this industry anymore.
No, you're right. Like as I said, I'm going to do a video on it, but it's so well said, Taryn. It's like it's all about now. Are you going to take the knee? Are you going to stand up? Like, no, it's about racism. Like, can we focus? It's not about taking the knee or standing up. No, very well said. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's get straight into the lineups. We've covered a lot about the press conference. We've covered, about the match as well, which we'll talk about as we're doing the lineups as well. Let's do this together, Taryn. I think it's safe to say Kepa obviously will be the goalkeeper. I mean, there's no Bettinelli is getting an opportunity, right?
No, I mean maybe if we want to save Kepa for Saturday, just in case, I could actually see that possibly. But yeah, 100%. I'm saying Kepa will start this game and continue his great momentum.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's how I feel as well. Look, a lot of people are saying Rudy, but I feel like this player needs a break. You can't just keep playing him. And there's already a few articles that I saw from Simon Phillips and whatnot. Sa looks like could get an opportunity. And I think, why not? Why not, Sa? I mean, this is a particular match where you could possibly have Chalobah here. You could possibly have Reece James there. You could possibly have Callum there. But I feel like let's start playing people in their right sort of positions. Okay, let's hold that Sa situation for a little bit. Who's going to be your middle one in the CBs?
I'm going to go with Christensen. I think that is
same.
what's probably going to happen. But I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on this lineup because it's actually quite a difficult one to predict the kind of cup game. So yeah, I'm excited to see that. But yeah, Christensen, I think we could have seen Silva again, but you know what? How the club like to kind of manage that kind of situation. Chalobah possibly, but yeah, I think he'll probably play in a different position in the back three today. Tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going with Christensen as well. I'm going with Chalobah here because I know he can play. Chalobah. I know he can play in the left side as well. I know he could possibly play in the midfield, but this is where he's most comfortable, which is the right centre back position, and I want to give him the opportunity over there. So, how do you feel about this one?
Yeah, no, definitely. He played really well in the last game against Aston Villa. Maybe a few times let Watkins get in and have a shot away, but I thought he was overall very solid on the ball. He was very good despite the high press of Aston Villa. And yeah, I think a main kind of downside, we mentioned it even in the preview before the Villa game, before the last one, was that Hudson-Odoi and Chalobah is not really a great kind of connection on that side. So yeah, I'm going with Chalobah, and hopefully we'll have a more defensive kind of player in that right wing back position. He'll be fine.
Yeah. And in fact, I'm actually not even thinking about Callum Hudson-Odoi as a right wing, and then we'll get to that. I think this one, safe to say, if Chilwell doesn't start this, we might as well sell him.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Send him back to Leicester on a buyback. No, I'm joking. I think he definitely will start. And yeah, it'll be interesting against. I believe Cash will start. I really do think Mike Cash will start this game. So against Cash, he's not any passenger. He's not a prisoner. He will be a difficult guy to defend and kind of take on in one-on-ones. But yeah, I think Chilwell needs to get back to his match sharpness, back to match fitness, and get over all these issues that he's been having because. We know Chilwell on his day is our starting left wing back, 100%. CL final, Man City away, all these other games, he was near to world class. So yeah, I think Chilwell definitely.
Yeah, me too, man. I think this is probably one of the absolute shoo-ins. Okay, we'll now touch on the right wing back and that remaining left centre back position. I'm going with Reece James here because he didn't play against Spurs. And I think Azpilicueta is probably going to play against Man City, or not. I think he will definitely play against Man City. And I think Thiago Silva will pop into the middle and Christensen will pop in as the RCB, much like how we set up against Spurs. I'm going with Reece James here, which then means I'm going with Sa because there are no other options. And I'm not using Azpilicueta and Thiago Silva because I want to give them a rest before the City game. How you feel about this? Reece James and Saul.
So close to complete agreement. Yeah, I'll go with Reece James 100%. It was really sad, like what happened to him, obviously with the whole kind of robbery situation.
Yeah,
Really, really
man.
personal condolences to have to deal with that. Hopefully, UEFA can do something about it, give him a new medal. But yeah, I think Reece James will start. He didn't start against City. Did he play the last game before that? I'm not quite sure, but hopefully,
Zenit. Yeah, he played against Zenit.
and he wasn't that great against Zenit to be completely fair. But yeah, we need him back, and he needs to really provide an impact because Azpilicueta has been flawless in the right wing back role. So
Yeah.
I think Reece James then onto the left centre back. This is why I'm going to disagree. I think Saul has a great case against it, but from what I saw from him in pre-season, especially the last game he played, the Spurs game 2-2, he looks like kind of a donkey compared to a horse with kind of Saul compared to Rudiger, like just complete difference. It's like a 12-year-old against like a 50-year-old bodybuilder. You just can't really compare them to each other. And it's still be such a different dynamic in the defense. We can't really deal with that. So yes, maybe start off the bench, but I think Rudiger has the fitness, the capacity, the man. He knows how to look after his body well. So
Would you'd go with Rudiger and then Rudiger again against Man City in 2 days' time?
Yeah, I actually would 100%. Yeah,
Wow.
I think definitely.
Bro, when are you going to give him some break? Because he does play international matches.
That's what I was going to say. It's crazy because he plays all three of the games for Germany as well during the internationals. But like I said, the November time to the kind of March time is when the internationals are kind of stopped. So during that period, you can rest him. There'll be week breaks between games. There won't be any stupid international, Nations League friendlies and stuff. So that's what I'll go with Rudiger. And I think Thomas Tuchel knows that Aston Villa will be pressing high. And if Saul struggled to deal with Tottenham in a friendly, I think with his match fitness, he's going to really struggle against, Trezeguet, El Ghazi, all these other high octane players.
Now, look, I'll take your word. I mean, I'll definitely take your word for it. And I'm putting him as a backup there. I know there's quite a few fans that are still expecting Rudy to start. I personally think it deserves some sort of break, man. I mean, you're going to burn this player out, and there's a City game which is going to be so intense. You need to concentrate massively. Last thing you want is your legs being fatigued from playing this particular Carabao match 2 days before. And the other thing is injuries. We don't want injuries to your main player like Rudy in this Carabao. So we'll keep Rudy there because you're going for him. I'm keeping Sarr as well. So Rudy's in the background. Ladies and gentlemen, if he starts, we've got him there as well. But I'm only going with Saul because I've seen some articles that he's probably going to start, and the fact that we've literally got a match coming up in a couple of days' time after this, which is very, very important. In the middle, I'm going with Virginia. Now, a lot of people could disagree here, and I'm going with Saul. Now, hear me out before you give me your explanation, Taryn. I think Saul starts because I don't want to risk Kante. Kovacic has been non-stop. The guy has not had any break. He's been literally playing 90 minutes straight after the international breaks, right? And he's been playing all of the international matches as well. Kante just came back from injury, looked excellent against Spurs, and he's actually come out and said, I feel better. My injuries have healed, but I don't want to now again throw him into the mix. I want him to start fresh against Man City. You were saying that you do want to see the two up front with Kante behind. I want to see the same thing as well. The midfield trio of Kante, Jorginho, and Kovacic with Timo and Lukaku up front against City. That's why I don't want to give Kante the task for this particular match. And Saul needs to kickstart again. Sad part is he's played against Villa and it wasn't that great, and we're playing him against Villa again. But it is what it is. I don't want to then have another, I'm not saying Saul's inexperienced, but he's inexperienced in the Premier League, well, in this particular league. That's why I want to have Jorginho in there. I don't want to throw in like a makeshift Ruben Loftus-Cheek or a Barkley. I feel like we don't want to sort of alienate Saul too much. Give him the Jorginho so he feels comfortable and really gets into the game. And then maybe take off Jorginho and bring in a Kovacic or maybe a Barkley in the second half if we are winning, to give us that sort of Jorginho a bit of break. How do you feel about that pivot?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with the N'Golo Kante kind of point you made. Yeah, 100% agree. We mentioned in the review that, Kante, for games like this, we don't really need to risk him when we have players who can come in to a high ability like, Saul, who on his day can be one of the best midfielders in Europe. So, yeah, I agree with that. Kante definitely rested for this game. I want Kante in the midfield three against Man City. And, yeah, it's unfortunate for Mason and for the other players. But, yeah, that's what I'll drop Kante for this game. Mateo Kovacic, 100 million % needs his rest. He's been playing pretty much every single game this season for Chelsea. At the Euros, at the Euros as well, actually. And for international breaks, 3 games for Croatia, all 3 games. So, yeah, even though he's a very, very dynamic, stamina, high octane player, yeah, give him the rest for this game. And yeah, the thing I kind of thought went kind of wrong with Saul in the Aston Villa game before is he was kind of relied on to be that connection between the defense and the midfield, which is not really his game. That's kind of think that was fair to say. Koke kind of did that role at times, and Saul was kind of hit by the forward. So, yeah, I understand that Saul against players who press so high like Danny Ings, Watkins, and Jacob Ramsey, and John McGinn. How can I forget John McGinn? It was a bit too hard for him at times with Jorginho there. Jorginho can be that anchor. He can control the midfield, take the kind of burden off Saul, and Saul can kind of free roam, play the Kante role, get forward, use his bang of a left foot, assist, score, everything like that. And I think he'll feel a bit more at ease in the midfield. So, yeah, this is a big game for him to adapt to the league. And it's not like we're playing a League 2 team where he can adapt. This is a Premier League team. So if he can play well against a Premier League team, I think he'll do well for his mental state, his physical state for the future games. And we could see him, off the bench against City in the future for different games. So this is a massive game. He needs to kind of really come back after that poor game. He can't do what other players. He needs to Thiago over after West Brom game. He literally became an absolute monster. So that's what I want to see from himself.
No, 100%. Brilliant. I'm glad that we can sort of agree on that double pivot, which is fantastic. Okay, I'll have a shot at the front 3, and then you let me know how you feel. I'm going with Timo Verna up front. I know it's not ideal for him to play just up front, but then again, it's a fluid front 3, and they all move around. I'm going with Ziyech, and his partnership with Timo Verna is fantastic. Ziyech hasn't played the last match against Spurs at all. He's a particular player. He's going to be itching to play this particular match and really find that form in the preseason against Villarreal as well in the Super Cup. He was looking so good before he got injured, and straight after the injury, it's been bad. Aston Villa, he wasn't that great. Zenit, he wasn't that great. And then, of course, he didn't make the he didn't make the starting lineup against Spurs. I feel like he'll be itching to go and wanting to do well. Timo Werner, I think he deserves to get those minutes now. Looked very sharp against Spurs. Does need to finish and improve on that finishing. I want to give him that opportunity. That combination between Ziyech and Werner is fantastic. The other player that I want to give an opportunity here is Callum Hudson-Odoi, playing in his natural position. None of this right wing back. None of this sort of playing in these sort of areas and going up and down here. And it, as much as we entertained that as a fan base, that was so revolutionary for Callum, I don't think he completely grasps that role. And I feel like someone like Reece James is far better doing that at the moment. Defensively, he's solid. Going forward, he's very good as well. Obviously, he doesn't have a Lukaku to aim at this time, but it is what it is. I think this front 3 could still do the damage. Callum showing the creativity, hopefully, from the left side where he much prefers. And as I said, the combination between Werner and Ziyech has always been there. Ziyech can drop into midfield areas as well and help out there. And his ability to sort of drive in and be that free player. Werner can sometimes act like this. Ziyech can be in the middle. And then, as I said, it could literally be mix and match. Sometimes you could see these sort of formation that can take place as well. Taryn, what do you think about this front 3?
That was kind of the one that I had in my head, but my kind of thinking was probably yesterday with that Mason Mount. I thought could have come in instead of Hudson-Odoi after that game against the replay game against Tottenham when he came off half time. I thought he would kind of be thrown in with Aston Villa. I don't believe Mount started the last game against Villa, and we really struggled with our intensity, being pressed. We needed someone who was really going to press that front line, and we didn't really have that at the time. So I probably thought that would be Hudson-Odoi, Werner, and Mount. And that's kind of what my debate was. Say Ziyech had many, many opportunities this season to prove that he is, worth playing this team. And honestly, I don't think he's been great since that injury. Had a really, really unfortunate shoulder injury against, was it Palace? Was it Arsenal?
Shoulder injury versus Villarreal.
Oh, versus Villarreal, exactly. Yeah. So it's not nice for him at all. So yeah, that's the only thing I would say. Probably put Mason Mount in and have Hudson-Odoi and Mason Mount to link up play with Timo Verna kind of running in behind, but. Yeah, I think it's kind of the flip of a coin right now. You put Ziyech behind Ziyech. Oh, okay, don't worry. So yeah, it's kind of like flip of a coin. Who's going to start? But Hudson-Odoi with Chilwell on the same side. Never really seen that before. Usually it'd be Alonso being that forward player with Hudson-Odoi taking the width. But Hudson-Odoi can finally be in that central left channel that he was so good at the academy under Maurizio Sarri. And if he doesn't perform well in this game in that left and right forward role, oh man, it is really worrying for when he'll get his next minutes, because this is his big chance if he is starting.
100%, man. This is one where I expect Callum to start. If Callum doesn't start this, Taryn, he needs to think about his future. Because if you're not starting Carabao Cup match, you're already not starting or even featuring in Premier League games or even Champions League games. If you're not starting Carabao Cup games, your time in the club is in jeopardy. That's how I look at it. That's why I feel like Thomas Tuchel blocked this move right at the end for not letting Callum go for the loan. So I feel like he has to start. Hopefully we can lock this team in. Taryn, you're happy with this team, yeah?
Yeah, I quickly wanted to add a point on Mason, man. I think if Mount can drop in midfield at times and help out Saul when he needs to, and Jorginho with that midfield, it has a possibility to get overrun. If you think about it, with Saul dealing with intensity still, Jorginho needs someone very intense next to him, like a Kovil or Kante. So if Mason Mount's there instead of Ziyech, I just feel the midfield three will kind of balance out physically with intensity. So yeah, that's the only thing I'd say. Mount's a bit better dropping in there instead of Hakim, Ziyech. But yeah, I'm happy with this team. Apart from Alonso, I don't think he will start. But apart from that, I think we've come to a good ground here. And this team should be good enough to beat Aston Villa.
Yeah, and as we've said, Aston Villa will most likely rotate as well. I know, Taryn, you've mentioned that they could possibly play two strong teams against Man United, but I feel like their focus will be that Man United game come Saturday, early kickoff. So I do expect them to have some sort of rotation as well. Now, just quickly before we wrap things up on this particular, lineup prediction, go to our score prediction, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Taryn. There's a lot of talk about Ruben Loftus-Cheek in the press conference, and Thomas Tuchel said that he could possibly feature. There's a good opportunity he will feature, get some sort of minutes. He did talk about him getting some minutes against Zenit, which is true. That was an intense period, 1-0 up, and bringing in Ruben Loftus-Cheek during that time. So, and he said it wasn't a gift; he deserved it. Taryn, I feel like he may not start, but he will come off the bench. Now, it could be for Saul, it could be for Mount, it could be for Cho. I mean, where do you generally picture Ruben Loftus-Cheek playing if this is the style that we're going with?
I think the safe bet is to put him in the front three. That's how I kind of see it. And the double pivot is just such a... We saw how much Saul struggled in that game. If you're not up to scratch, if you're not up to the game intensity, you're going to get absolutely rinsed in midfield. And I think the front three, even though they are under high pressing at times, you can drift wide. You have the kind of freedom to roam, to pick up spaces where you're comfortable in possession, compared to the midfield two, where you literally are in a set position. You play there. If you lose the ball, the team's in jeopardy on the counter attack. So yeah, in the front three, I'd probably expect him coming on for maybe Hudson-Odoi if he gets a goal and assist. Timo Verna even as a false nine. That's kind of what I see him coming on. But yeah, it is worrying that we're not even considering him really in the lineup today. And despite being a round 3 game in the Carabao Cup, if it was maybe a League 1 or League 2 team, I'd probably throw him in straight away. But yeah, it is really worrying. And I just think he should have got a loan. I really think he should have just, first thing priority, get a loan and try and get him away. But yeah, it's unfortunate, but I think he will come off the bench in the front three.
Yeah, I have to agree as well. Probably be the front three. I just can't see how he starts, man. There are so many players that that needs minutes and really get the season up and running. Ruben Loftus-Cheek is just so far down the pecking order, it's not even funny. But off the bench, I can picture him coming out and then probably take one of the front three positions. It'll be a surprise if he takes either of those double pivot roles. Now, Taryn, let's wrap things up slowly. Score prediction for you.
Yeah, I haven't actually thought about this, but yeah, I'll think about it now. I think 2-0 win. I don't think it'll be a very, all fans will want a 5-6-0 Carabao Cup. Aston Villa, I think they will play a really strong team. They're high intense. I really like what Dean Smith has done since Grealish has left. Very, very pleasantly surprised by the intensity of their play, the possession, their way of building through the midfield and defence. So yeah, I'm really impressed by Aston Villa. So I think 2-0, it definitely won't be a game where I think we'll be playing fluid football, will be a dominant game. I think we will have situations where we're under the cosh. We can see chances for us to come in and save us at times. So yeah, I think 2-0, maybe a goal from Timo Verna. Is that fair to say? Get back on track.
Why not?
I have to say that. And a goal from Saul. Why not? Let's get a debut goal, second debut goal from Saul, and a goal from Timo Verna. So yeah, all things good.
Brilliant. I'm going with the 2-0 as well. Looking at the team, I'm hoping Callum Hudson-Odoi can get into the score sheet, maybe a Timo Verna to wrap things up. But yeah, You're kind of scaring me. The thought that Aston Villa could possibly put up a strong team.
I have to be honest. I think they will. I think I'm convinced they will actually. But yeah, Karen.
Yeah, it looks like, when you think about it from their perspective, they could possibly think that this is a competition they could win. So why not? But I still think the team is very strong enough. We've got quality players in this squad, very strong enough to do the job. Yeah, Sarr is the bit of the outsider. I just think how Rudy needs a break somewhere, but it is what it is. I still think the team is strong enough. I'm going with 2-0, as I said. Callum Hudson-Odoi to score, Timo Verna to score as well. Ladies and gentlemen, let us know your thoughts, whether you like the lineup or what your lineups will be in the comments below. Make sure you smash the like button if you've enjoyed this video. And any other comments regarding this particular match, the press conference, please leave it in the comment section. Check out Taryn and his socials in the description as well. Make sure you follow him everywhere. Hope you guys have enjoyed this preview. We will see you guys on the match day. Taryn and Jonathan will be at the match, so do look out for that pre-match. We'll do the watch-along, obviously. We'll have the watch-along and the pre-match together. Hopefully half an hour before the match starts, the boys can be live and we can talk about, the atmosphere in Stamford Bridge and whatnot, go through the lineup. Obviously, the boys will join us in half-time show and then post-match as well. So do look out for that. It'll be a very, very interesting Carabao Cup match. Once again, hope you guys have enjoyed this. Smash the like button before you go and subscribe if you're here for the first time. Until next time, see ya.